Hello everyone, this is Refresh, and I'm here to bring you a battle between two Amonkhet Planeswalker decks and the Defeat a God challenge deck from Journey to Nyx. For these games, we're using 3 hero cards. The first one is a Harvester, and because I only have one of each of these cards, they're going to apply to both of the decks. The Harvester will let you tap to draw a card, then discard a card. The Explorer says you may play an additional land on each of your turns. And the Vanquisher says your starting hand size is increased by 1, your maximum hand size is increased by 1. We'll be playing our first game on regular difficulty with 3 Rollicking Throngs, and we'll drop to 8 and see how our opening hands are. Gideon has a Gideon's Resolve, Mountain, Cartouche of Zeal, Graceful Cat, Mountain, Plains, and Stone Quarry. It's a bit limited, but I think we can hopefully use the Harvester to get out of the land block, so we'll go ahead and keep this. Liliana has Edifice of Authority, Liliana Deathwielder, Swamp, Lux of River Shrine, Forest, Crocodile the Crossing, and Gravedigger. This isn't a great hand, but the Edifice of Authority does let us prevent Xenagos from attacking, and so that might save us a lot of damage, and so we will keep this hand as well. Turn 1, we'll play a Plains and a Stone Quarry tapped. We'll play a Forest and a Swamp. And then we'll hand the turn over to Xenagos. Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards, the first one being Xenagos' Strike. Xenagos' Strike deals 4 damage to each player. We'll take 8 damage to go to 12. Xenagos will then cast Dance of Flame. Whenever a Reveler attacks, Dance of Flame deals 1 damage to each player. And that'll stay on the battlefield. There is nothing else happening this turn. We'll go ahead and tap the Harvester. Gideon will draw a Trial of Zeal. Liliana will draw a Giant Spider. We'll discard the Luxa River Shrine, and we'll discard Gideon's Resolve. We'll untap. We'll draw. Gideon draws a Mountain. Liliana will draw a Forest. We'll play the Swamp and the Forest. We'll play a Mountain and a Plains. We'll play the Edifice of Authority. It says, for 1 you can tap and target creature can't attack this turn. Put a brick counter on Edifice of Authority. For Gideon, we'll tap these 3. We'll play a Trial of Zeal. When Trial of Zeal enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. When a cartouche enters the battlefield under your control, return Trial of Zeal to its owner's hand. We will deal 3 damage to a Rollicking Throng to kill it. We will pass the turn to Xenagos. Xenagos will play the top 2 cards, the first one being Ecstatic Piper. When Ecstatic Piper enters the battlefield, Xenagos Ascended attacks this turn if able. We will tap the Swamp to tap the Edifice of Authority, putting a counter on it and making it so that Xenagos cannot attack this turn. We'll play the next card, which is Ecstatic Piper. The same thing happens. Xenagos cannot attack, so that will be the end of Xenagos' turn. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Gideon will draw on Impeccable Timing. Liliana will draw a Swamp. We'll discard the Impeccable Timing. We'll discard the Giant Spider. We'll untap. We'll draw. Gideon draws a Devoted Cropmate. Liliana will draw a Foul Orchard. We'll play the Swamp and the Foul Orchard. The Foul Orchard will be played tap. We'll play both Mountains. We'll tap out for Gideon and play both the Devoted Cropmate and the Graceful Cat. We'll tap 4 for Liliana. We'll play Crocodile of the Crossing. It has haste when Crocodile of the Crossing enters the battlefield. Put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you control. Crocodile is the only creature we control, so we'll put a -1/-1, making it a 4/3. We'll instantly attack and kill an Ecstatic Piper, gaining us 4 life to go to 16. And then we will pass the turn to Xenagos. Xenagos will cast the topmost card, which is Xenagos' Scorn. Xenagos Ascended gains trample until end of turn and attacks this turn if able. We will tap 1 mana to tap the Edifice of Authority, give it another counter, and make Xenagos unable to attack this turn. We'll cast the next card, which is Ferrous-Span Revelers, which is a 4/4. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Gideon will draw a Plains, and we'll discard that Plains. Liliana will draw a Dune Beetle, and we'll discard the Dune Beetle. We'll untap. We'll draw. Gideon draws a Trial of Zeal. Liliana draws a Swamp. We'll play the Swamp. We'll tap out. We'll play Liliana Deathwielder. She begins with 5 loyalty counters. We'll plus her immediately on 2 to put a -1/-1 counter onto up to 1 target creature. We'll put it on Xenagos himself. We'll play a Trial of Zeal. When again, it'll do 3 damage, killing an Ecstatic Piper, getting us 4 life to go up to 20. We'll cast Cartouche of Zeal on the Devoted Cropmate, making it a 4/3, and we'll attack with the Crocodile of the Crossing, the Graceful Cat, into the 2 Rollicking Throngs to kill them. And then we will return these to our hand, and we will pass to Xenagos. Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards, the first one being Xenagos Scorn. Xenagos Ascended gains trample until end of turn and attacks if able. And then also Impulsive Destruction. Each player may sacrifice an artifact or enchantment. Impulsive Destruction deals 3 damage to each player who didn't sacrifice a permanent this way. We will sacrifice the Cartouche of Zeal and take 3 damage to go to 17. Xenagos will also attack, and we will opt not to block, and we'll take 5 more damage to go to 12. And then we will loot the Harvester. Gideon will draw a Companion of the Trials. Liliana will draw a Tattered Mummy. We will discard the Tattered Mummy. We will discard the Companion of the Trials. We'll untap. Gideon will draw a Plains. Liliana will draw an Oracle's Vault. We'll cast both Trials of Zeal to deal 6 damage to Pharaoh's Band Revelers. When Pharaoh's Band Revelers leaves the battlefield, each player draws a card. Gideon will draw a Plains. Liliana will draw a Cartouche of Strength. Go ahead and play both Plains. We'll plus Liliana to put another -1/-1 counter on Xenagos, making him a 4/3. We'll attack Xenagos with Crocodile of the Crossing, and they'll trade, killing them both. And the Amonkhet Planeswalker decks win the day. We'll be right back for hard mode. Alright, hard mode consists of 4 Rollicking Throngs. We'll go ahead and play as usual, starting with 8 cards apiece. Gideon has an Honored Crop Captain, Gideon Martial Paragon, Plains, Trial of Zeal, Gideon's Resolve, Glorybound Initiate, Mountain, and Taw Crop Elite. I don't think that this is enough lands to get started, so we will pitch. Gideon has a Trial of Zeal, Graceful Cat, Trial of Zeal, On-Card Crasher, Impeccable Tiny Mountain, Hyena Pack, and Pathmaker Initiate. That's actually even worse. We'll go ahead and pitch this again, going to 7. Gideon has Hazard's Favor, On-Card Crasher, Glorybound Initiate, Companion of the Trials, Cartouche of Zeal, On-Card Crasher, and a Mountain. That's pretty bad. We'll go ahead and pitch this to go to 6. We have Mountain, Cartouche of Zeal, Stone Quarry, Plains, Pathmaker Initiate, and Stone Quarry. I think this we can actually keep. Liliana has a Splendid Agony, Foul Orchard, Forest, Tattered Mummy, Swamp, Desiccated Naga, Trial of Ambition, and Edifice of Authority. I believe we can keep this as well. We will scry with Gideon. We'll put the Mountain on the bottom. Turn 1, we'll play both Stone Quarries tapped. Liliana will play a Swamp and a Forest, tap both, and play a Tattered Mummy, and we'll pass the turn to the Horde. The Horde will play an Ecstatic Piper. When Ecstatic Piper enters the battlefield, Xenagos Ascended attacks this turn if able, and then plays Impulsive Return. Return 2 cards named Ecstatic Piper from Xenagos' graveyard to the battlefield. At the beginning of combat this turn, Impulsive Return deals damage to each player equal to the number of Revelers on the battlefield. We'll take 10 damage from Impulsive Return, and 6 damage from Xenagos Ascended, taking us to 4. At the end turn, we'll use the Harvester. Gideon will draw a Trial of Zeal. Liliana will draw a Giant Spider. We'll discard the Giant Spider. We'll discard a Plains. We'll untap. Gideon will draw a Gideon's Resolve. Liliana will draw a Luxor River Shrine. We'll play the Foul Orchard tapped. We'll play a Mountain. We'll tap these 3 and play a Trial of Zeal, dealing 3 damage to the Ecstatic Piper, killing it and getting us 4 life to go back up to 8. And then we'll pass the turn to Xenagos. Xenagos will untap. Xenagos will play the topmost card, which is a Wild Mayonnaise that has First Strike and a 3/1. And we'll also play Impulsive Return. Return 2 cards named Ecstatic Piper from Xenagos' graveyard to the battlefield. At the beginning of combat, Impulsive Return deals damage to each player equal to the number of Revelers on the battlefield. We'll return the 1 Ecstatic Piper from the graveyard to the battlefield. We'll take 12 damage and immediately perish before Xenagos is able to attack. And that was brutal. Granted, our opening hands were not great, and our draws thereafter were also not great, so there wasn't a lot that we could do, but it was still quite the brutal loss. If I made any errors in terms of rules or gameplay, let me know in the comments below. Let me also know what you thought about these games in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more such videos, hit subscribe. This was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.